I'm Darren Martin. I represent the Morton Chamber of Commerce Board. I think I know most of you. The way this will work is we've got a series of 5 or 6 questions, fairly simple. Ginger will be working on the time there too, so we've got about 2 minutes per question. Not really a debate style, so don't think the issues are such that it would require that. So take a couple of minutes. Feel free to address those questions, and when you're finished, or when you see Ginger raising the red flag on you, then we'll move on. I will try to rotate the questions around just so that we're not starting with the same person each time. And we'll go from there. Let's start off with Nick. Just some introduction questions here, Nick. Please share some information about yourself and why you want to become, or in your case, remain a county board member.
Okay. My name's Nick Graff. I grew up in rural Tazewell County down by Manier, lived on a farm down there, worked on the farm and on a family business. Eventually moved to Morton in 1977. Became a deputy sheriff for the Tazewell County Sheriff's Department. After that, I became Morton's police chief. Served as Morton's police chief for 23 years. In that capacity, I got appointed to many committees, both statewide and locally, Rotary president, those types of committees that got me active in the community. One of the committees I was appointed to was the Tazewell County Emergency Telephone System Board. I served as that chairperson for 12 plus years while I was police chief. I became acquainted with the operation of the county, both as the deputy sheriff and as this board member. Set up the budget for the 911 board during that time for a number of times. Became acquainted with the operations of the county. Pretty much have a deep love for Tazewell County. Retired as police chief. Went to work as a professor at ICC, started teaching there. I enjoy that job, but I missed the government part of my life. 2 years ago, when the redistricting took place in Tazewell County, I decided to run for the board. Was fortunate enough to get elected. Serving on the board now in my first budget we've done, I'm a part of, on several different committees, and I just truly enjoy doing what I'm doing on the board. My whole purpose is serving the people of Tazewell County, and I hope I get reelected.
Thanks, Nick. Brett, same question.
My name is Brett Grimm. I grew up here in Morton for most of my life. Moved to Washington after I got married for just a little bit, about 9 years. Been married for 15 years this year. I've got 4 children. They're 12, 10, 7, and 5. Was appointed to the board in 2009. Since then I ran in 10, 12, and now again in 14 here. Biggest thing that I've learned about the board is it is not really a legislative type body. That's something that Keith does down there in Springfield. What we do more than anything is budgeting the money that we collect and put it in the proper departments so that things stay running well and doing a good job for the people. That plays to one of my strengths. I do a very good job on budgeting and delegating and making sure that I ask questions about where things are going and that they're run efficiently. Because of that, I really enjoy my time on the board, the committees that I serve on. I'm on health services, finance, human resources, executive, risk management, a lot of those committees that take the ability to look at some of these things as to what's going on. Again, I grew up here in town. I started 4 businesses. I've sold 2. I still have 2. As a small business owner, I think it's important that you know what it's like to meet a payroll, to watch where expenditures are going, and just how to go.
Thanks, Brett. Dean?
I'm Dean Grimm. I'm married and have 3 children, 8 grandchildren. Was in business here in Morton for 40 years in the retail business. I'm a veteran, been on the county board for 16 years. I'm currently chairman of the property committee. I think that I like to serve because it is service, and we can watch the funds of Tazewell County and watch your tax dollars and see how they're being spent. I think we've done a great job. This county is one of the few that has the type of reserves that we have. We have around $15 million in reserves, and I'd enjoy serving you more if I'm elected. Thank you.
And last but not least, Shelly.
My name is Shelly Hranka. I live in Groveland with my husband and our 2 dogs, Harry and Hannah Hranka. We have 4 children between the 2 of us, all boys. We have a 30-year-old that's expecting our first grandchild. We've got a 27-year-old in Chicago. We've got 2 24-year-olds, both in Chicago. Both graduated and out of school, and finally have jobs. I'm currently the Groveland Township trustee, so I completely understand when it comes to budgeting and where our money goes, and how the county and the townships work. So I'm completely aware of how hard it is to budget the money and make sure that we keep services to our constituents. I'm also the YWCA Board of Directors in Pekin, and I do that because I want to serve and I want to help women feel better about themselves, give them strength, and also help a great non-for-profit organization that's in Pekin. I am the current past president of our local chapter of NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners, where we help women help start businesses and continue on with their businesses. We help them find resources to keep their businesses going with education. I'm also a Morton Rotarian. I sit on the Peoria Chamber Government Affairs Committee. I had to write it all down because I can't remember it all. I also sit with Chuck Weaver, Councilman Chuck Weaver in Peoria. He's got a business advocacy committee where we discuss about how important it is that how we keep our businesses vibrant in the city of Peoria and also in Tazewell County. And so why I want to be on the Tazewell County Board is I really want to help our community and our county with our businesses, with economic development and business development. So I'm sorry I stumbled on that. You threw me off with the time's up. So that's all I have.
You're a busy group.
I am.
We're going to do this at 7 o'clock in the morning, I see. All right, well, let's jump to one of our first questions. We'll start this with Brett. Brett, what do you see as the greatest challenge or opportunity facing our county, and what would you do as a board member to meet that challenge or opportunity?
Probably what I find the most looming is the state, in the fact that there are so many questions at the moment as to how they're going to pay some of their bills and how they're going to catch up on some of their different things. And because of that, what are they going to do to us? No offense, Keith, but you sit there, and last year they took $500,000 from us on some taxes that we had planned. If we don't have the kind of reserves that we do in mind or in place now, then what's going to happen if we're running on a shoestring budget, or if we're a lot tighter, or things like that. So probably the biggest thing is maintaining the budget that we have had in the past. I believe that we have had, the board didn't start when I got on there. It didn't start when Tim Newhouser got on there. It didn't start when Dave Zimmerman. It has run very efficiently for a tremendous amount of time. And I think it's important that we maintain that fiscal responsibility, that we do those different things to help keep it in order. I was really blessed. I got to sit next to Jim Carius and by Link, who were 2 big advocates for watching what they spend. And he was fantastic on always making sure that where that money's going and the different things. I've got a lot of experience that I've learned over the last 5 years from these people as to who, why, and where these dollars are going. And I think it's good to maintain that and keep it going again, because I believe that the state is one of our biggest threats at the moment, just because we receive funding from them, or what some of their things are, is where that money's going to go.
Thanks, Brett. Dean?
Well, I'd echo Brett in that the state mandates things and doesn't give us a way to finance them. So the state is a big problem. We continue to work with people like Keith to try to change that, but it's a difficult situation. I'd say another thing is the Pekin landfill. Pekin landfill was closed improperly 20 plus years ago, and it's a looming problem. The state has not financed the cleanup. It's never been closed properly. It needs to be closed properly, and it's a lot of money. We've got estimates from $2 million to $6 million. So at some time that's going to be, we can't let it go. I mean, we've done some things to close it, but it's a continual problem until it's done properly. And so that's a big expenditure that is out there. Other than that, I think we just have to continue to be frugal. You know, you have to, when you cut expenses, it goes to the bottom line. Raising revenue isn't the answer. It's a help, but when you cut an expense, it goes immediately to the bottom line. So that's where I'd put my emphasis.
Great, thanks. And Shelly?
Well, I agree that we have some issues with the state, but I think in business, as we are in business, you always have bumps in the road, and we just have to see that as a bump in the road, and we can't focus on it. My vision includes developing job opportunities and growth within economic development. Our county is in good fiscal shape, and that is due to these men and our board, and that's great. But if we don't start promoting growth within our county and within our communities and bring in businesses and help our small businesses grow, we're going to be in poor shape, and we don't want to cut services or jobs. But we really need to focus on the businesses. When we have a business, they take less away from the schools and provide more to the community. So that's just how I feel. I really want to push economic development and growth in the community and in Tazewell County.
Thanks, Shelly. And Nick?
Don't think there's a whole lot left, but I concur with Mr. Grimm on the landfill. The landfill is in District 2, so it is in our district. All the fail-safes failed to get that properly closed, including money that was set aside by the state that was swept by the prior governor. And I know, Keith, you had nothing to do with that, but it just shows how the prior governor has really decimated this state. I agree with Mrs. Hranka as well on economic development. We are going to have to spend more money to keep our infrastructure sound. It's more expensive to fix roads, bridges, and we have to keep those structures working for our community so our county survives. The more people that live in our community spread that cost out. So the more people there are in a community or in a county, the less cost individually we'll have to pay for those. So I think it's important that we develop jobs for our area through economic development. We do a pretty good job of it in the more major cities, but we don't really have anything in place for rural Tazewell County or for the small communities in our county. So we need to step up and make some economic development choices to improve the business climate of our county. Budgeting is always an issue. I operated a budget for 23 years as police chief. I spent the money when I had to, but I spent it like it was my own money. I didn't think I won the lottery. I spent the money like it was my money. So we have to spend money. It's part of the county business, but we need to be frugal when we do it.
Thanks, Phil. We'll start this next question with Dean. How can our county best support local businesses?
I think, first of all, keep the tax base low and continue to provide the infrastructure that Nick alluded to, the roads and safety of our county. And then when small businesses, and I ran a small business for 40 years, when small businesses need help, they need to communicate with us. We as board members, I've been on the board 16 years, I can probably count on both hands when a business owner came to me and asked, can you help me in this particular way or another particular way? And I don't think they communicate well enough. We're there to help. We can help with zoning. We can help with grants. We can help with business loans, small business loans, and there are vehicles out there that can help small businessmen and women. So I'd suggest that we continue to look for opportunities to help our business people.
Thanks, Dean. And Shelly?
Repeat the question for me.
Yeah, the question was, how can the county best support local businesses?
I feel by using our chamber office, by using our ambassadors, going out and talking to all the businesses. The businesses are scared to ask for help. They're a little proud, and when they are having problems, I think some of the businesses are really afraid to say, hey, I'm having an issue. But I think if our chamber ambassadors and our economic development people would go out, and there are only in the major areas, we truly need one in the county, but we need to go out and ask and see how they're doing and talk to them and see what their needs are. By doing that, then we help them with human resources, or we help them with building loans, or we can help them with SBA development. I mean, there's just so much we can do for them if we can just, like Dean said, communicate. But I don't think that they'll come to us. I think that we really need to go out to them. It's really important. Because when someone puts a business together, it's a lot of hard work, and sometimes you feel a little intimidated by asking for help. And so that's one of my reasons I want to run for the county board, is I really feel that we need an economic development person in the county that helps, and then also stay with our SEDS committee and also our Tazewell County Economic Development. I just lost it. I'm sorry. Resources. Help me out. The one that Russ Crawford's on. I'm just having a blank this morning. Tri-County, right? Excuse me. Yeah, I'm having one of those mornings. Sorry, but yeah, those are important committees that help our community grow, and we really need to help support them. So, and when you're in business, you need to spend a little bit of money for your marketing, which the county is in business. And so we need to spend a little bit of money marketing ourselves to helping other small businesses.
Great, thank you.
I agree with what's already been said, but I think one other issue is through infrastructure improvements, the county can help our businesses. We just did the Wagon Cellar Road renovation, which helped the businesses located down there for improving, bringing more business to them. So the county needs to be on the vanguard as far as building what we need to do, setting up the programs we need to set up to help businesses flourish. We don't have the clout that the villages have or the state has as far as creating new laws or changing the tax code across the state. That falls upon the state to do. But we do have the ability to help out when there are special needs like zoning and other issues such as that.
Great. And Brett?
Going last really kind of takes everything, doesn't it? Everything's been really hit on, but a lot of the stuff is, the county has an economic incentive policy, something we just put into place. We'd had things that we had done for people in the past, but they were always kind of hit and miss unless they weren't, I'm not going to say wingnut, but they were kind of wingnut in the sense that it was like, okay, this is what we're going to do for you or whatever. Now we've got a solid plan of what we're going to do for people as far as helping out with different things. We have the 5th lowest tax base for a county in the entire state. that's a tremendous help to businesses, that's a tremendous help to people. Those kinds of things are coupled with our reserves and the different things, they make Tazewell County a very attractive place to be in different things. Now, as far as the individual businesses, we have things like revolving loan programs and different things, and our regional economic development people know that. They have helped steer people towards those and do different things, and the local chambers do as well. Our job is not necessarily to go and promote individual businesses or do different things like that. It's to support people. It's to support the different things and to provide services and to do the different stuff. As a rural economic development person, one for the county alone, we already have one as a region in the EDC and FFCI. That hasn't been completed, but those are coming in. Each one of the villages, the larger cities, have one in the county. But I haven't received any phone calls from people, business owners, different things of people in Tremont, Minear, or Hopedale that would justify funding a county person to do that. Somebody in Morton wouldn't want to pay for somebody to help Tremont when Tremont doesn't really want that. People that live in small towns want to live in small towns. There's a reason that they're in those areas. They can drive to where they're going.
Great. Well, you started leaning into the next question, so we honestly didn't give them any heads up on what these questions were, but Shelly, you'd opened it up for us. So there's been some discussion about adding an economic development position at the county level. Are you supportive of this action, and why or why not?
I am supportive of this action because of the fact that we do have the small communities such as Delavan, Mackinac, Deer Creek, the unincorporated area of Groveland where we live. You really need, even though those are sleepy bedroom communities, we still need to have someone out there to touch base with those businesses to find out what their needs are. I drove through Tremont last week, and there's both of their little restaurants have both closed. Luckily, Eli's has picked up and opened a coffee shop, but they need some businesses in the community to help the community thrive. It's cheaper for me when I go to get my mail to stop at Eli's and get a cup of coffee than it is for me to get my mail in Tremont and drive to Pekin to get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So my whole point is that we really need to help those businesses stay in business and spend a little extra money. Shop small, shop local. That's my biggest passion is making sure that we support our small local businesses. They're the ones that are really putting the tax dollars back in the community. So I get a little passionate about that, even at 7:30 in the morning.
Appreciate your passion. Nick?
I am in favor of an economic development person, but I'm not in favor of it at full-time or hiring a complete staff to do this. I think we can probably efficiently contract this out and on a trial basis to see how it works out. I do believe that while the small towns may not be vocally asking for it, I know that they need the support. I know that the sales tax revenue in a lot of the villages in our county are limited, and they have to pay for sewers and police and fire and all that stuff just like the larger communities do. So the more businesses that are located in a small town, the more tax revenue the people in that town receive, and it's a win-win for both. It saves you driving to Pekin to get your Starbucks or whatever. So I'm in favor of it on a limited basis.
And Brett, you started to answer the question. We'll let you elaborate a little further.
Great, thanks. I absolutely do not support a county hire EDC person. The reason is because I don't want to have to worry about paying health insurance, the pension, the wages, the things that go through, when it's very hard to quantify how much they're bringing or helping when we have a regional or they have a village ones in the areas. What I would support, and I would like to talk more about the committee as they've been doing this, is a contractual person. And in that, I would like to see the small individual communities, if they would kick in money for that person as well, to gauge their interest. Do they just want something that we're going to provide, or are they willing to put some skin in the game and see, yes, we want this and this is how we're going to do it? I do not see a reason to completely fund it, again, because you're going to have health insurance to go with it, you're going to have pensions that go with that kind of a position. And if the smaller communities would like that, I'd like to see what kind of interest and how much they're willing to pay for it as well.
And Dean?
I wouldn't support hiring a full-time person in Tazewell County at this point. First of all, the whole economic development system has been turned upside down in the last year. We've paid someone, a firm, about $600,000 to evaluate some of these things. The Tri-County has changed immensely, and we've added 2 counties to our economic development system. And so at this point, I would not want to hire somebody full-time. Do we need to look at it? Certainly. And when the dust settles, perhaps. But I would be in favor of doing something contractual too. When you hire a person, it's easy to cut a lot of things on a budget, but when it comes to alleviating jobs, it's very difficult, and it's an emotional thing, and I am not quick to hire somebody and add another position. It's, in my opinion, part of the problem in government. You know, people create bureaucracies, and it's very difficult to control those. So at this point, I would not be in favor of hiring a full-time position.
Well, that's the end of the tough questions. So as we wrap things up, why don't we just give you a second to tell us why we should vote for you as a Tazewell County Board, and let's start with Shelly, since we went this way as the opener.
Oh, wow. I think you should vote for me because I'm passionate. I really want to serve. I want to serve the community. I currently serve on the Groveland Township, so I know how things work. I have 3 bullet points. One of them is, of course, economic development. I truly think we need to push that, especially in the unincorporated areas and in the smaller communities. The second thing is schools. When those businesses are developing, they pay more tax dollars for our schools, where we can provide other programs for maybe some vocational programs. And 3 is communication. Communication is big. We're not getting communication from the cities and the townships to the county and vice versa. And I think that we need to really work on communication all 3 ways. Of course, there are a lot of programs out there, economic development programs, but the way we get it out there is to try and communicate with the people and promote it and market it. So that's what I want to do. I think we need, like I said, I do think we need to run our county as a business, but with the business, you also have to take some money aside, and you have to put some money in a marketing budget, and that is economic development. So I hope you will vote for me, and if you have any questions, you're more than happy to take your phone call and sit and have coffee. I love coffee. So.
Thanks. So we'll come right back down the table. Dean?
I think I provide some leadership skills and some experience, having been involved in the Morton Chamber of Commerce, having been the president, past president. I've run a business for 40 years. I think when you sign paychecks, you look at it a little bit differently than you do if you're spending other people's money. So I think my experience and my voting record speaks for itself, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Brett?
You know, I used to be involved in the Washington Chamber, and the Morton Chamber, and Rotary, and all the different things. I used to be doing all of those, and it took a lot of my time. Having 4 children, now they take more of my time, and it's one of those things that I can't focus as much on those kinds of things as I've got different priorities now. However, serving on the county board is something that is immensely important to me because it resonates through everything. And it's a way that I can show my children, as well as others, how you can serve people and what you can do to help and to make things better. With the different things that have been going on over the last number of years, I haven't been there for 5 years, I've seen changes in the board. Administrators, people come and go, different things, that there's a lot of instability. And I think that one of the things that I'm able to bring to it is the fact that I have been there for a while. I know why things are doing what they are, and I'm able to help continue to keep it moving. Yeah, I own small businesses. I know how important it is for them to continue to work, for them to get help and to do the different things. And we do spend money on things like that. If you're going back to the EDC, we do it regionally and we help with local stuff. So there's a lot of good things that we do. And we've got one of the best transportation departments in the entire state. We have an award-winning health department. We've got very, very good services that we provide and a very tight ship on the fiscal responsibility, and I'd like to keep to maintain that. So I'd appreciate your vote so I can continue to do so.
Thanks, Brett. And Nick.
Well, in order not to get in trouble, since everybody else mentioned family, I think I probably better do the same before we end this. I'm married. We have 4 adult children and 3 grandchildren, and everybody's in the area, so we get to see them all the time. Those of you that know me know that when I get involved in something, I usually get involved with both feet, jump in all the way. And those that know me also know that I'm not someone that comes out and asks people for things. I'm usually one that does things for people. So it's very difficult for me to sit up here and ask somebody to do something for me. So it's very difficult for me to do. But all I can say is everything I've become involved in, I've done it to the best of my ability, did what I thought was appropriate at the time. I ask for your support in this primary. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this is certainly a setting that you're probably not tremendously familiar with. Most of us don't get the opportunity to sit in front of a camera and answer questions on the spot, but I thought you did a tremendous job being articulating your position, and we appreciate you being here. So yeah, let's keep it going. I think this was the only piece of the election in the primary that was contested other than the governor's race. So, but we felt it was important to be able to get some information about all of you out to our constituents, and it's good to see a little bit of a contested election because it shows that people are interested rather than just a default. Well, these are the people that have always done it, so I guess they're the people that get to continue to do it. So we appreciate you coming out and being willing to challenge a little bit and to think about it and be passionate about it. So thanks for your time. Let's give them one more round of applause.